We're almost finished. We're almost finished. On the following day, the first clear sign of danger appeared. 3 armed tribesmen approached and asked the boy and the alchemist what they were doing there. "I'm hunting with my falcon," the alchemist answered. "We're going to have to search you to see whether you're armed," one of the tribesmen said. The alchemist dismounted slowly, and the boy did the same. "Why are you carrying money?" asked the tribesman when he had searched the boy's bags. "I need it to get to the pyramids," he said. The tribesman who was searching the alchemist's belongings found only a small crystal flask filled with a liquid and a yellow glass egg that was slightly larger than a chicken's egg. "What are these things?" he asked. "That's the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life. It's the masterwork of the alchemist. Whoever swallows that elixir will never be sick again, and a fragment of that stone turns any metal into gold." The Arabs laughed at him, and the alchemist laughed along. They thought his answer was amusing, and they allowed the boy and the alchemist to proceed with all their belongings. "Are you crazy?" the boy asked the alchemist when they had moved on. "What did you do that for?" "To show you one of life's simple lessons," the alchemist answered. "When you possess a great treasure within you and try to tell others of them, seldom are you believed." That's for true. They continued across the desert. With every day that passed, the boy's heart became more and more silent. It no longer wanted to know about the things of the past and the future. It was content simply to contemplate the desert and to drink with the boy from the soul of the world. The boy and his heart had become friends, and neither was capable now of betraying the other. When his heart spoke to him, it was to provide a stimulus to the boy and to give him strength, because the days of silence there in the desert were wearisome. His heart told the boy that his strongest qualities were his courage in having given up his sheep and trying to live out his destiny, and his enthusiasm during the time he had worked in the crystal shop. His heart told him something else that the boy had never noticed. It told the boy of the dangers that had threatened him, but he had never perceived. His heart said that one time it had hidden the rifle the boy had taken from his father because of the possibility that the boy might wound himself. And it reminded him, the boy, the day when he had been ill and vomiting out in the fields, after which he had fallen into a deep sleep. There had been 2 thieves farther ahead who were planning to steal the boy's sheep and murder him. But since the boy hadn't passed by, they had decided to move on, thinking that he had changed his route. "Does a man's heart always help him?" the boy asked the alchemist. "Mostly just the hearts of those who are trying to realize their destinies. But they do help children, drunkards, and the elderly too." "Does this mean I'll never run into danger?" "It only means that the heart does what it can," the alchemist said. One afternoon they passed by the encampment of one of the tribes. At each corner of the camp were Arabs garbed in beautiful white robes with their arms at the ready. The men were smoking their hookahs and trading stories from the battlefield. None paid any attention to the 2 travelers. "There's no danger," the boy said when they had moved on past the encampment. The alchemist sounded angry. "Trust in your heart, but never forget that you're in the desert. When men are at war with one another, the soul of the world can hear the screams of battle. No one fails to suffer the consequences of everything under the sun. All things are one," the boy thought. And then, as if the desert wanted to demonstrate that the alchemist was right, 2 horsemen appeared from behind the travelers. "You can't go any farther," one of them said. "You're in the area where the tribes are at war." "I'm not going very far," the alchemist answered, looking straight into the eyes of the horsemen. They were silent for a moment, and then they agreed that the boy and the alchemist could move along. The boy watched for the exchange with fascination. "You dominated those 2 horsemen with the way you looked at them," he said. "Your eyes show the strength of your soul," answered the alchemist. That's true, the boy thought. He had noticed that in the midst of the multitude of armed men back at the encampment, there had been only one who stared fixedly at the 2. He had been so far away that his face wasn't even visible, but the boy was certain he had been looking at them. Finally, when they had crossed the mountain range that extended along the horizon, the alchemist said that they were only 2 days from the pyramids. "If we're going to go our separate ways soon," the boy said, "you'll teach me about alchemy." "You already know about alchemy. It's about penetrating into the soul of the world and discovering the treasure that has been reserved for you." "No, that's not what I mean. I'm talking about transforming lead into gold." The alchemist fell silent as the desert and answered the boy after they had stopped to eat. "Everything in the universe evolved," he said, "and for wise men, gold is the metal that evolved the furthest. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. I just know that the tradition is always right. Men have never understood the words of the wise, so gold, instead of being seen as a symbol of evolution, became the basis for conflict. There are many languages spoken by many things," the boy said. "There was a time when, for me, a camel's whining was nothing more than a whining. Then it became a signal of danger, and finally it became just a whinny again." "Oh, whinnying. Oh, whinny! Oh, okay." But then he stopped. The alchemist probably already knew that. "I have known true alchemists," the alchemist continued. "They locked themselves in the laboratories and tried to evolve as gold had. They found the philosopher's stone because they understood that when something evolves, everything around it evolves as well. The self. Others stumbled upon the stone by accident. They already had the gift, and their souls were readier for such things than the souls of others. But they don't count, they're quite rare. And then there were others who were interested only in gold. They never found the secret. They forgot that lead, copper, and iron have their own destinies to fulfill, and anyone who interferes with the destiny of another thing will never discover his own." The alchemist's words echoed out like a curse. He reached over and picked up a shell from the ground. "This desert was once a sea," he said. "I noticed that," the boy answered. The alchemist told the boy to place the shell over his ear. He had done that many times when he was a child and had heard the sound of the sea. "The sea has lived on in this shell because that's its destiny, and it will never cease doing so until the desert is once again covered by water." They mounted their horses and rode out into the direction of the pyramids of Egypt.